Love is rarely a straightforward confession. More often, it hides in the cracks of ordinary life, in half-smiles, in glances too long to be accidental, in words chosen too carefully. Some men wear their hearts openly, letting affection spill into every touch, every sentence. But others, whether out of fear, pride, or uncertainty, bury their feelings beneath layers of restraint. They laugh louder, act cooler, or hide behind casual gestures, all while their emotions simmer just below the surface. And that's where the mystery begins. How do you know when someone is falling for you, even as he works tirelessly to disguise it? The truth is, love has a way of slipping through the smallest cracks. A hidden emotion might never make its way into an outright confession, but it always leaves traces. It's in the way his body leans closer without permission, in the way his eyes betray what his lips deny, in the details he remembers long after the world has forgotten. You may have felt it before, that subtle shift when he's around you. Maybe you noticed how his voice changes, softening when it's directed toward you. Maybe you caught him glancing your way when he thought you weren't looking. Maybe you realized he shows up again and again, with excuses so thin they're almost transparent, yet sincere enough to reveal his heart's pull. These aren't coincidences. They're signals, quiet, cinematic, deeply human signals, that he's already fallen further than he dares to admit. This journey isn't about grand gestures or sweeping declarations. It's about recognizing the poetry in the ordinary, the way he remembers your favorite drink, the nervous laugh when you brush against his arm, the protective way he steps between you and a rushing crowd. Love hides in these moments, whispering louder than words ever could. Psychologists might explain it as subconscious behavior. Friends might dismiss it as coincidence. But when you experience it, you know better. You feel the weight of his attention, the gravity of his presence, the undeniable truth that you occupy more space in his world than he will admit aloud. Love doesn't stay silent forever. It leaks, it stumbles. It slips out through gestures too human to control. In this guide, we'll explore 15 of the clearest signs that he's falling for you, even if he's working hard to keep it hidden. Each sign is not just a clue, it's a scene, a fragment of a story told in body language, in silence, in nervous laughter, in sudden tenderness. As you read, you may find yourself remembering moments, connecting dots, realizing that his hidden affection has been speaking to you all along. Because love, even when disguised, is never truly invisible. It's written in the details, in the pauses, in the quiet ways someone chooses you without ever saying it. And once you learn to read these signs, you'll see the truth. His heart has already confessed. It just hasn't found the courage to use words yet. Sign 1. His eyes betray. What his words refuse to say, they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. And when a man is falling for you, his eyes often confess the story his lips cannot. Even if he insists on acting casual, his gaze lingers just a second too long. It's not the same look he gives anyone else. It carries warmth, softness, and an almost protective quality, like he's memorizing you in real time. Imagine sitting across from him at a cafe, the room filled with noise and movement, yet his focus never drifts too far from you. When you speak, his pupils widen ever so slightly. When you laugh, his eyes brighten as if your joy fuels him. He may quickly glance away, pretending to check his phone or look at the menu, but that half-second flicker of nervousness is proof. He's caught, and he knows it. What makes this sign so cinematic is the tension between restraint and revelation. He might crack a joke, tease you, or even keep a poker face. But when your eyes meet unexpectedly, his emotions spill through like light breaking past a curtain. Sometimes he'll look at you when he thinks you're not noticing, when you're busy adjusting your hair, talking to someone else, or even staring out a window. Those stolen glances are love letters written in silence. And here's the secret. Men who try to hide feelings often underestimate how much their eyes give them away. Words can be rehearsed, actions can be masked, but the human gaze is primal. It leaks desire, admiration, and vulnerability.
If you've noticed his eyes searching for yours in a crowded room,
if he holds eye contact just a little longer than necessary, or if his glance softens into something tender when you're near, then you've already discovered the first undeniable sign. It's not just attraction. It's gravity, his eyes pulling toward you like the earth draws the sea. Sign 2. His body moves closer, even when he pretends. It doesn't matter. Love often reveals itself not in grand speeches, but in the subtle choreography of the body. When a man is falling for you, yet trying hard to conceal it, his movements betray the truth. He'll lean closer without realizing it, tilt his shoulders toward you when you speak, or angle his feet in your direction even if the conversation includes others. Picture this. You're sitting in a group, maybe at a dinner or in a living room full of friends. Everyone's chatting, laughter echoes, plates clink. But if you watch him closely, you'll notice how his presence is quietly tethered to yours. He shifts his chair slightly nearer, not enough to be obvious, but enough to feel your nearness. His arm brushes the table closer to yours, or he sits at an angle that gives him a clearer view of you. Even in silence, his body language speaks. He mirrors your gestures, crossing his arms when you do, sipping his drink right after you, or leaning back in rhythm with your posture. Psychologists call this mirroring, a subconscious act of connection. He doesn't script it. It flows naturally, like a hidden signal that he's attuned to your rhythm, and yet he may mask it with nonchalance. He'll stretch casually, shift his position, or pretend to adjust his seat. But the truth is simple. We gravitate toward what we want. A man who insists he's just a friend will still find excuses to stand beside you in photos, to walk on your side of the street, or to hover nearby in a crowded place. He may not touch you openly, but his presence orbits around you like a planet circling its star. What makes this sign powerful is that it bypasses words. Words can deny, lips can lie, but the body is stubborn. It reveals what the heart is trying to bury. When he keeps finding ways, conscious or not, to stay physically close, it's not just proximity. It's longing. It's the quiet confession of a man who hasn't yet gathered the courage to speak, but can't stop his body from betraying him. Sign 3. His voice softens. When it's just for you, words are powerful, but tone is even more revealing. A man who is falling for you, yet guarding his emotions, often gives himself away in the way he speaks when it's just you and him. His voice, normally steady or casual, unconsciously softens when directed toward you, like he's offering you a private melody no one else deserves to hear. Think of the contrast. He might joke loudly with his friends, argue about sports, or speak briskly in meetings. But when the conversation turns to you, the sharp edges fall away. His pitch dips into something warmer, slower, more intentional. He lingers on your name when he says it, stretching it with a tenderness he doesn't even notice. It's as if his voice carries an invisible cushion, making sure his words land gently in your space. It's not just softness, though. It's also focus. When you speak, he doesn't just listen. He responds with tonal shifts that match your mood. If you're excited, his voice lifts in harmony. If you're down, his voice deepens with quiet empathy, as though wrapping your pain in a blanket. He may not say, "I care about you more than I admit," but his tone will whisper it over and over. And sometimes the giveaway lies in contrast. Around others, he may use humor, sarcasm, or even detachment to hide his feelings. But in private moments, when he calls late at night, when he answers your text with a voice note, or when he leans closer to ask how your day really was, the sincerity in his voice breaks through the walls he tries so hard to keep. There's also the nervous edge, a slight crack when he's teasing you, the way his words tumble faster when you compliment him, or how he clears his throat when your silence lingers too long. These are not mistakes, they're love's fingerprints on his voice. When a man is falling for you, his voice stops being just sound. It becomes an instrument of care, desire, and vulnerability. Even if he hides the words, the music always escapes. Sign 4. He remembers the details. Everyone else forgets. When a man is falling for you, even if he hides it, memory becomes his secret love language. He stores away little fragments of you, details so small you may have forgotten you even shared them. That random story about how you hated thunderstorms as a child, the way you like your coffee with 2 sugars but no cream, or the fact that you always carry a pen in your bag just in case. He remembers, because every word you give him feels like treasure. Picture a conversation weeks later. You casually mention being tired, and suddenly he says, "Didn't you say lavender tea helps you sleep? I saw some at the store. Maybe you should try it again." You pause, wondering how he even remembered. Or maybe it's your birthday. He doesn't buy you something extravagant, but instead hands you a book from that author you once said you loved in high school. It's not about money, it's about listening. This isn't ordinary friendliness. Most people forget these tiny details. They nod, smile, and let words pass through like background noise. But when someone is secretly in love, every detail becomes a thread he tucks away, weaving a private tapestry of who you are. He notices your favorite color, your nervous habits, the way you go quiet when you're upset, or that you always pause before answering a difficult question. The cinematic part is how it feels when these memories return to you. It's like hearing your own soul echoed back. Suddenly you realize he has been paying attention in ways no one else has. Even if he doesn't say "I care," his memory screams it for him. And here's the truth, remembering his effort. It requires focus, emotional investment, and desire. He wouldn't collect your details unless they mattered to him more than he dares to admit. When he recalls the little things no one else notices, he's not just showing thoughtfulness. He's revealing the quiet devotion of a man whose heart has already chosen you. Even if his lips remain sealed, sign 5, he gets jealous, but tries to hide it behind a smile. Jealousy is one of love's loudest whispers. When a man is falling for you but refuses to confess it, jealousy often creeps out in fleeting expressions, awkward jokes, or sudden changes in mood. He may never admit, "I don't like seeing you with someone else," but his body and words betray the storm brewing beneath his calm exterior. Picture this. You're laughing with another guy, maybe a coworker or a mutual friend. Out of the corner of your eye, you notice his posture stiffen. His laugh suddenly sounds forced, or he interrupts with a playful tease that feels oddly timed. Later he might joke, "Looks like you two were having fun," said with a smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. It's not confrontation, it's camouflage. He's trying to act unaffected, but inside, his heart is tugged by a fear he doesn't dare name. Sometimes jealousy shows up as withdrawal. He might go quiet for a while, replying slower to your messages or acting distracted when you talk. Other times it flares as overcompensation. He cracks more jokes, becomes the loudest in the room, or suddenly tries to one-up the guy you were talking to. Either way, the pattern is the same. His emotions are in motion, but he's covering them with a mask of composure. And then there are the subtle looks, the quick glance when someone else compliments you, the way his jaw tenses for just a second when another man offers you attention, the flash of vulnerability he hides with a shrug. He may say, "I'm not the jealous type," but his reactions tell the real story. What makes this sign so telling is that jealousy doesn't rise from casual feelings. It comes from investment, from the fear of losing something precious. If he were indifferent, he wouldn't notice. But if he's secretly in love, every interaction you have with another man feels like a quiet test of his patience, a silent battle he wages with himself. His jealousy may be hidden, disguised as humor or indifference, but if you look closely, you'll see the truth. It's not annoyance. It's longing wrapped in restraint. Sign 6. He finds excuses to be near you. Even when there's no reason, love rarely arrives with fanfare. It sneaks in through excuses. When a man is falling for you but tries to keep it under wraps, he'll invent small, almost laughable reasons to be around you. It's never, "I want to be with you," but rather, "I just happen to be here," or "I thought you might need help with this." Imagine you're at work, buried in tasks. Suddenly he's at your desk. "Hey, do you have a spare pen?" Even though you've seen him carrying 3. Or at a party, he accidentally ends up in the same corner you moved to for air. He may offer to walk you to your car, check in with a casual, "How's your day?" text, or linger after everyone else has left just so he can share a few more minutes with you. These excuses aren't random. They're his safe cover for wanting your presence without revealing his heart. Sometimes the excuses are bigger. He volunteers to help with something you mentioned once, fixing a small issue, running an errand, or tagging along to an event. He frames it as convenience, but the truth is he's bending his schedule around yours. His time becomes elastic when it comes to you, stretching further than he'd ever admit. Watch for the pattern. He consistently shows up, not in grand ways, but in the steady rhythm of small appearances. He'll drop by with a coffee because I was passing by anyway, or stay late because I had nothing else to do. These aren't coincidences. They're confessions dressed as chance. And here's the emotional core. Men who hide their feelings often fear rejection, so they mask desire as helpfulness. But what they can't hide is the consistency. Anyone can stumble into your path once or twice, but if he's always there, finding reasons, creating moments, weaving himself into the fabric of your daily life, it's not luck. It's longing disguised as coincidence. His presence, subtle but constant, is love's quiet drumbeat. Even when he won't say it, his excuses are proof. He simply can't stay away. Sign 7. He protects you in small, almost invisible ways. When a man is falling for you but hasn't admitted it, his care often slips through in quiet, protective gestures. Not the grand movie-style rescues, but the subtle, everyday shields he raises around you without ever calling them love. Protection becomes his silent language. Picture this. You're walking down a busy street together. Without saying a word, he shifts so that he's on the side closest to the traffic. Or you're at a crowded event, and his hand hovers near your back, not touching but guiding, making sure you don't get jostled. Maybe he insists on carrying something heavy for you, brushing it off as, "Don't worry, I've got it," even though you didn't ask. These gestures may seem small, but they're powerful. They reveal instinct. His first thought isn't about himself. It's about your comfort, your safety, your ease. If it rains, he'll hand you his jacket, pretending he wasn't cold anyway. If you're upset, he'll notice before anyone else and ask quietly if you're okay. If someone speaks sharply to you, his body tenses, his jaw sets, and he watches closely, ready to step in if needed. Sometimes protection is emotional rather than physical. He'll defend you in conversations when you're not there, correct people who misrepresent you, or gently steer conversations away from things he knows will make you uncomfortable. He listens for your silences as much as your words, sensing when something is off, and the beauty lies in how he disguises it. He'll laugh it off, saying, "Relax, it's no big deal," but to him, it is a big deal. Protectiveness doesn't bloom from indifference, it blooms from attachment. If he didn't care, he wouldn't notice. But if he does, he can't help but watch over you, even in the smallest, almost invisible ways. This kind of protection is love's quiet armor. It doesn't shout, doesn't demand recognition. It's the way his heart shows itself before his lips ever dare. Sign 8. He shares pieces of himself. He doesn't show others when a man is falling for you. His walls start to crack, not in obvious ways, but through the small, private parts of himself he lets slip into your hands. Even if he's trying hard to hide his feelings, he can't resist offering you glimpses of the person beneath the surface. At first, it may be subtle. He tells you about his favorite childhood memory, not because the story is important, but because it feels safe with you. Or he mentions a dream he's never shared, like starting his own business, writing a book, or traveling somewhere that's always pulled at his heart. He doesn't frame these as confessions of love, but they are. Each story is a gift, an unspoken invitation to know him more deeply than anyone else does. Imagine this scene. The room is quiet, just the two of you. He's normally the funny one, the confident one, the one who never seems shaken. But tonight, he admits something. His fears, his regrets, the way he sometimes feels like he isn't enough. He masks it with a laugh, tries to downplay it, but the vulnerability in his voice tells the truth. He trusts you with the raw edges of his soul. Men often guard these pieces carefully. To the world he may look strong, composed, untouchable. But love changes the equation. With you, he lowers the shield, not fully, not all at once, but in fragments that mean everything. A playlist he made years ago, a scar he hides beneath humor, the story of how he lost someone and how it shaped him. And here's the secret. People don't hand out their inner world freely. They only share it when their heart decides someone is worth the risk. If he's showing you sides of himself no one else sees, it isn't casual. It's intimacy blooming in disguise. He may never say, "I love you" outright, but if he trusts you with the parts of him he hides from everyone else, then you already hold his quiet confession. Sign 9. He notices your moods before you even speak. When a man is falling for you, he develops a radar tuned entirely to your emotional frequency. Even if he's trying to suppress his feelings, his heart betrays him through an uncanny awareness of your moods. He knows when something's off, sometimes before you've even realized it yourself. Picture this. You walk into a room, your smile carefully in place, but it doesn't reach your eyes. To everyone else, you look perfectly fine, but not to him. He tilts his head, studies you for a moment longer than usual, and then quietly asks, "Are you okay?" The kind of question that feels less like casual small talk and more like he already knows the answer. It's not just when you're sad. He notices when you're tired even though you insist you're not. He sees the way your laugh changes when it's genuine versus when it's forced. He picks up on your silences, your hesitation, the way you fiddle with your hands when you're nervous. And when you're happy, truly, deeply happy, his face lights up with yours, as if your joy has spilled over into his veins. What makes this so telling is that it's not conscious effort. He doesn't sit there with a checklist, analyzing every shift in your mood. It's instinctive, the natural result of caring so deeply that his mind becomes attuned to your subtleties. Love sharpens perception. He notices because he wants to, because your inner world matters to him more than anyone else's, and yet he may disguise it. He'll offer comfort casually. You look like you need coffee, I'll grab one. Or crack a gentle joke to pull you back into laughter. He might even pretend he didn't notice, just to avoid exposing how closely he's been watching. But the consistency betrays him. Time and again, he reads you in ways no one else does. This kind of emotional awareness doesn't happen with just anyone. It's proof that his heart is tethered to yours, even if his lips stay silent. When a man can feel your mood shifts as though they're his own, it's because, in some unspoken way, you've already become part of him. Sign 10. He acts different around you than he does with anyone else. When a man is secretly falling for you, the contrast between who he is with others and who he is with you becomes impossible to ignore. He might try to convince himself and the world that nothing's changed, but his behavior shifts in ways that only you bring out of him. Maybe he's usually the life of the party, cracking jokes and keeping things light. Yet when it's just the two of you, he softens. His words slow down, his voice grows gentler, and he listens more than he talks. Or maybe he's reserved, guarded around most people. But with you, he loosens, letting out laughter he doesn't share anywhere else. The change doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be consistent. You unlock a side of him that no one else gets to see. Picture him in a group setting. With everyone else, he's casual, easy, even detached. But the moment you speak, his entire energy shifts. His eyes find yours, his attention sharpens, his responses carry more weight. He might interrupt less, lean forward more, or give you a smile that has nothing to do with the conversation and everything to do with you. It's like you change the gravitational pull in the room, and here's where it gets even more telling. He may not realize he's doing it. Friends might tease him, saying he acts different around you. He'll laugh it off, deny it, but deep down he knows. Love alters rhythm, rewires responses, changes chemistry. No matter how hard he tries to stay the same, his heart betrays him in the way he shifts into another version of himself in your presence. It's in the little things, the nervous way he fixes his hair when you walk in, the way his sentences trail off when you look at him, or how his laughter comes easier, brighter, when it's sparked by you. Around you, he becomes both more vulnerable and more alive. This isn't coincidence, it's transformation. You don't just enter his space, you change it. And that change is love, quietly rewriting who he is when you're near. Sign 11. He finds reasons to text or call you for the smallest things. When a man is falling for you but keeping his feelings hidden, technology often becomes his secret outlet. He may not confess his heart in words, but he'll find excuses to keep the thread of connection alive. Little messages, casual calls, reasons that sound practical but carry an undertone of, "I just wanted to hear from you." Think about it. He might text you a meme and say, "This reminded me of that joke you made," or call to ask something he could have easily Googled. Sometimes it's as simple as, "Hey, did you see the game?" Or, "Which coffee shop do you recommend again?" These aren't urgent needs. They're thinly veiled excuses to draw you into conversation. The beauty lies in the frequency. He won't reach out once in a while like a casual acquaintance would. He'll weave himself into your daily rhythm. A good luck text before your big meeting. A late night message about a song he thinks you'd love. A call on his drive home framed as boredom, but really because your voice has become his favorite way to end the day. And watch how quickly he responds to you. Even when he's busy, your messages seem to jump to the top of his priority list. He may act casual about it. "Oh, I just happened to check my phone." But the pattern gives him away. Sometimes the way he hides it is by keeping the messages light, playful, or random. But if you look closer, they're laced with intimacy. Each text is a breadcrumb, leading you toward the truth he's not ready to say aloud, that you matter to him enough to create reasons to stay connected. This is not just communication, it's investment. People don't carve out time for the small things unless the big thing, the heart, is already involved. When his phone becomes a bridge he can't stop building between you. It's not just convenience. It's his hidden way of saying, I need you in my everyday. Sign 12. He gets nervous in moments that should feel ordinary, when a man is falling for you but refuses to admit it. His nerves often betray him in the simplest, most ordinary situations. Things that should feel casual, like a conversation, a smile, or a touch on the arm, suddenly rattle him because the stakes feel so much higher with you. Picture this. You're walking side by side and your hand brushes against his. For anyone else it would mean nothing, but for him, that small contact sends a spark rushing through his body, and suddenly he's clearing his throat, fiddling with his sleeve, or shoving his hands into his pockets to steady himself. He tries to act natural, but his fidgeting gives him away. You might notice how his words tumble out faster when he's joking with you, or how he backtracks mid-sentence, correcting himself even though no one else noticed. Sometimes his nervousness comes out as clumsiness, dropping his keys, spilling a drink, laughing a little too loudly at something mildly funny. Other times it shows in silence, his voice catches. He pauses longer than usual, or his smile lingers awkwardly before he looks away. And then there's the classic giveaway. His body betrays what he's fighting inside. He straightens his posture when you enter the room, suddenly becomes aware of his hands, or adjusts his shirt as if trying to look better without drawing attention. His confidence around others seems intact, but around you, there's a quiet tension that hums just beneath the surface. This nervous energy isn't weakness, it's reverence. It's the weight of wanting to impress you, of fearing that one wrong move might reveal too much. He may act like everything's under control, but his tells, the shaky laugh, the quick swallow, the restless movements, paint a clearer picture. Love makes ordinary moments feel extraordinary. And when his nerves show up in places they shouldn't, it's because his heart has already placed you above everyone else. Sign 13. He talks about the future, and somehow you're always in it. When a man is secretly falling for you, his vision of tomorrow begins to change. Even if he hasn't admitted it, you'll start to notice how you quietly slip into his plans, his daydreams, his language about the future. He may not say, I want us to be together outright, but the way he frames what's ahead reveals more than he intends. It might sound casual at first. We should check out that new restaurant sometime. Or, next summer you'd love this music festival. Little remarks, tossed into conversation, but notice the pattern. He isn't imagining those moments alone. He's already placed you in the scene, as if your presence is a given. Sometimes it's bigger. He'll talk about moving cities, switching careers, or traveling abroad, and without thinking, he'll say we instead of I. You might laugh it off, teasing him about making assumptions, and he'll grin, backpedal, act like it was nothing. But slips like that aren't accidents. They're glimpses of where his heart wants to go. Picture him describing a house he'd love one day, how the kitchen would look, where the garden would be. Or imagine him joking about how someday your kids will tease you for that habit. He frames it lightly, hides it beneath humor, but underneath, it's a confession. He already sees you woven into the fabric of his future. This isn't something men do casually. Including someone in future plans requires emotional investment. It means his mind has shifted from me to us, even if he's not brave enough yet to admit it aloud. The fact that you appear in his visions of tomorrow tells you everything. Your presence has become indispensable in the way he dreams forward, and that's what makes it cinematic. The story isn't in the big declaration, it's in the way he accidentally reveals that he can't imagine what's next without you in it. Love, hidden or not, always writes itself in the language of tomorrow. Sign 14. He supports your dreams, more than he admits, when a man is falling for you but keeping it locked inside. His care often shows in the way he champions your ambitions. Even if he doesn't confess his feelings, you'll notice how invested he becomes in the things that matter to you. The goals, passions, and quiet dreams you've shared, sometimes only once in passing. Picture this. You mention wanting to learn photography. Weeks later, he sends you a link to a local class, saying casually, "Thought you might like this." Or you tell him you've been nervous about applying for a promotion, and he not only encourages you, but also helps you brainstorm how to highlight your strengths. He doesn't just cheer from the sidelines. He steps into your corner, lifting you higher without demanding credit. it's not only the big milestones either. He celebrates your small victories like they're his own. If you pass an exam, finish a project, or simply have a good day, he reacts with genuine pride, lighting up as though your success is proof of his own. When you stumble, he's the one reminding you of your worth, steadying you when doubt tries to pull you under. What's striking is the depth of his belief in you. Sometimes he sees your potential more clearly than you do. He'll say things like, "You're better at this than you think," or "Don't sell yourself short." It's not flattery, it's faith. Faith rooted in affection too deep to ignore, and yet he frames it lightly. He might disguise it as being a good friend, or claim he just likes helping. But the truth slips through in the consistency, the sincerity, and the way he invests energy into your dreams, with no expectation of return. Because here's the truth, when someone loves you, your happiness becomes their quiet mission. Supporting you isn't duty, it's instinct, even if he hides the words. His actions shout them clearly. I believe in you because to me, you're already extraordinary. Sign 15. He looks for moments alone with you. Even in a crowded room, when a man is falling for you but fighting to hide it, solitude becomes his silent craving. He might not declare his love, but his actions reveal a constant search for stolen moments. Snippets of time where it's just you and him. Even if the world is buzzing around you. Imagine this. You're at a family gathering. Laughter bouncing off the walls, music playing. He drifts through conversations, polite, friendly, but his eyes keep scanning until they land on you. When you step outside for air, he follows a few minutes later, claiming coincidence. When you're in a group, he waits until the chatter dips, then leans closer, asking you something personal, something just between the two of you. It's his way of creating a private world inside a public one. These moments don't always look romantic. Sometimes they're disguised as help, carrying dishes with you to the kitchen, offering to walk you to your car, standing in line by your side at an event. But beneath the surface, the truth is the same. Being near you in quiet, uninterrupted space is his way of feeding the longing he won't admit aloud. There's a softness in those private exchanges. He listens more closely, his laughter feels freer, and his guard lowers in ways it never does around others. He may share something vulnerable, or simply enjoy the silence of standing beside you, but what matters is the choice. When given the option, he consistently seeks you. And the cinematic part? These moments linger. Later, when you think back, you realize how many times he positioned himself in your orbit, how often he created tiny islands of connection in seas of distraction. That pattern isn't friendship, it's love restrained, love hidden in the folds of ordinary time. A man who hides his feelings still can't resist the pull of privacy with the one he loves. Because deep down, every heartbeat is saying the same thing. If I could, I'd choose you, always, just you.